All right, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakakodash, the Wanders, the elders, and apostles, great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim, Wa'akwath, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit, and we're actually going to deal with this janky, this Bojangles breakdown, mangled breakdown of the beast that Daniel saw in Daniel 7. And that John the Baptist, John the Revelator saw in Revelation 13. All right, so this your brother Malak from GMS Detroit, and just real quick showing you, our apostles got it. All right, there's a reason. Leave. People need to leave the breakdowns alone. All right, and this guy right here, this channel Risen Lamb, they are under the impression that the people who claim to be in that land are the chosen people, which is going to completely persuade their reasoning of thought, if you will, and throw it completely overboard. They're going to break these things down wrong so that they can force their viewpoint. And with that, the hot topic right now, Wi-Fi in them, right? This just goes to show you, if you're being biased or if you're not being all the way honest, it can easily overthrow your understanding. And these people are going to throw in a whole crazy screwball out of nowhere. All right, so let's let it play real quick. And I'm not going super in depth into every single word of every single verse, just keeping it basic, glossing over. I just popped up and I recommended, so I just wanted to show y'all.
Both of these questions is an astounding. Have we completely misunderstood the vision in Daniel 7? And did John directly tell us who the beast from the sea was and will be? The answer to both of these questions is an astounding yes.
So, this random nobody, Risen Lamb, nobody, so everybody's been getting it wrong. So this is the guy who has it. All right, so let's see what he says.
Get into it. One of the most interesting events found in Scripture is the rise of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, found within Revelation 13. For thousands of years, Bible expositors have speculated exactly what this passage is talking about.
So I'm going to just fast forward a little bit to where he starts reading it and giving his breakdown. So once again, we're on the left-hand side is the beast in Revelation 13:1, and on the right-hand side is the 4 beast in Daniel 7.
Abundance of potential interpretations of Revelation 13, verses 1 through 10. And while I completely understand how Daniel has been fulfilled in his, so please watch my chapter 7 breakdown in the description. The 4 beasts in chapter 7 were a depiction of the 4 kings who would rise to power after the fall of Babylon. One like a lion, one like a bear, one like a leopard, and a 4th dreadful and terrifying beast.
And I don't know if you caught it, but this is somewhere where he messes up already. He said that these were going to be 4 kings that rise up. So he believes this to be literal kings. He believes one beast to represent one person rather than each beast representing a kingdom. All right, as a matter of fact, just that easy. Just that easy. A nigga get tripped up. All right, let me start real quick. So I'll just, we got it right here. We're going to have it on deck. And we'll go along.
4th dreadful and terrifying beast. Daniel is given the interpretation of these beasts in verse 17 as being 4 kings. These great beasts, which are 4 in number, are 4 kings who will arise from the earth.
So that right there, he thinks this is 4 fucking kings, y'all. So he already threw, and this is really kingdom. So I'll just read back up. Daniel 7:16, and I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. All right, now granted, the word kings is used here, literally, it says the word king, but we understand that these are actual kingdoms. And he already slipping and tripping. All right, hold up. Let's see actually if we can find anything in any other of the translations. He already, this nigga out the gate, slipping and sliding. Nigga shoestrings wasn't tied out the gate. Translation comparison. That easy. Hey, NLT, right? That easy. these four huge beasts represents four kingdoms that will arise from the earth. Right there, y'all. It's just that easy sometimes. You know, the old English will fuck a nigga over. Something foul. You know, have somebody out here believing a lie. All right, let's come back.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 17. And as for the 10 horns of the fourth beast, we are told in verse 24a that these 10 horns are 10 kings which will rise out of the fourth beast.
So right, that once he thinks those 10 horns are 10 kings as well. When those 10 kings, when those 10 horns represents, kingdoms in the future is what,
As for the 10 four kings, Persian or Achaemenid, and the 10 horns represents the 10 kings of the fourth beast's empire. We see this take place in history immediately after the fall of Babylon, with the rise of the Medo-Persian or Achaemenid Empire. The first four kings are Cyrus the Great, his son Cambyses II, and his other son Smerdis or Bardia, and finally Darius the Great.
Wrong as fuck. For those of you who have been around, you brothers and sisters that have been around, hey, you brothers and sisters that, those of you in particular, you don't go out on highways and byways, you're just, you're the faithful believers for whatever reason, even y'all know this shit wrong. I'm not even just talking about us, the fellow brothers that go out. Even y'all can look at this and just throw this shit out the window. He believes that lion is Cyrus the Great, the bear is Cambyses II, Smerdis is the leopard, and the dragon, or the beast, if you will, the final beast, the fourth one is Darius the Great. That's just wrong as fuck. That's just outright, there's nothing utterly wrong. So we're going to go back and read those verses. And notice he doesn't go into the verses and describe the characteristics of those beasts. Why? Because if you do so, these people it just don't fit. All right, so let's go here. All right, and it didn't say that it didn't say that those beasts were going to arise after the Babylonian Empire. It didn't say that nowhere in here. All right. It simply says that they were going to pop up. All right. So Daniel 7, and I'm going to start at verse, I'm going to start 7 and 2. All right. It didn't say nowhere that these beasts was popping up after Babylon. So he's already screwing himself when he said that. So Daniel 7 and 2, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and the four beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. All right, and if you already know, now this first one, it says it was a lion with eagle's wings. Who is that? The Assyrian Empire. All right. In the Assyrian Empire, what happened to it? It got annexed, if you will, by the Neo-Assyrian Empire, or the Babylonian Empire under Nebuchadnezzar. That's how the wings were plucked off. And it says what? And made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. So Babylon was, Neo-Babylon was a greater and stronger empire than the Assyrians. Because if you go to the history, you read the book of Isaiah, the Assyrians came and took away, northern kingdom, put the beats on them. That's back in what is that? Second Kings. The Assyrians come and get northern kingdom. But then after them you had the Babylonians, and the Babylonians, they practiced many of the same customs and thinking of another word for customs. Let me see. Basically, make a long story short, they simply carried over many of the things, the same gods, same deities, many of the same practices. All right. The only difference being Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar, was stronger, especially, military wise. All right. And it was wiser. It was a more advanced kingdom. So verse 5, it says, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Which one is this? This is that bear that rose up. All right, who is this? The Medial and the Persian empires. And it rose up on one side. Why? Because one side was stronger. All right, now real quick, if you just go back to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Now, if you know the history of the Persians and Medes, the Medes rose up first and the Persians second, but the Persians, the Persians was a stronger empire, which is why it stood up on one side. All right, and I just want to get this real quick. I believe, where's it at? Where it mentions Cyrus, just to back it up to prove it, right? Oh no, 5th chapter. Let me see, 5th chapter. 6. Darius. So like, okay, yep, Darius 5:31. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So Darius came up right behind Nebuchadnezzar, when they walked in and took over and dethroned the Babylonians. All right, but after the Medes, the Persians, they were a joint kingdom. Let me see when it brings in. I want to see where it mentions Cyrus. Just hey, keeping it real basic. But I just saw this nigga's breakdown and it was goofy. Here we go, proving it. Daniel 6:28. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. All right. So, and they didn't go back to back. Cyrus didn't pop up right behind Darius. There's Darius and then his, more Mede rulers. And then Cyrus came in and took over. All right. So now we back over here. Daniel 7. Oh, and real quick, it said, in that 5, it said, it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Those 3 teeth being the 3 land masses that they took and conquered, Libya, Babylonia, and Egypt. All right, the Persian Medes, they came over from the east and they were conquering northwest and south. All right, notice he doesn't go into none of that here.
Darius the Great.
He just say names and just go to the next slide. You gotta qualify that, homie. So real quick, and this one's an easy dead giveaway. Daniel 7:6. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Who is this? All right, the leopard represents Greece, and the first over Greece was who? Alexander. Where do you go for that? First Maccabees. And it was distributed after his death to his 4 generals. All right, First Maccabees 1, and let me just go right to it. Yep, First Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out in the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. So right there, Alexander, he was the first one over Greece. And then what happened after his death? So we'll start First Maccabees 1:7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. After his death they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them. Many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So those are a part. It was 4 generals that took over, and eventually their sons kept popping up, and one of the descendants of one of them was Antiochus. Antiochus came out of whose line? Seleucid. All right, those 4 wings being what? Seleucid, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, and Cassander. All right, so now we'll go back to that Daniel 7. Or no, we'll go back to a little bit of the video because we'll do the 7th one as well, which everyone should know. Just double checking over everything. Yep, already. 17 verse 19, 20. God. All right, let's come back. Yeah, he free balling.
Darius the Great. Under Darius, the Medo-Persian Empire expanded and was a much more brutal empire than under the 3 previous kings, giving understanding to the dreadful and terrifying description of his rule and the 9 kings that followed, Darius the Great being the first of the 10. Following Darius the Great, who established the Darian dynasty, we can track all 9 kings who followed him, leading up to Darius III, who ultimately fell to Alexander the Great of Greece, depicted in verses 8, 20.
And this is complete. You notice he's not pulling any verses, any precepts, y'all. This is a complete sham. Those 10 horns are not Darius and his kings, Artaxerxes and all them. Them boys was been passed by time of the second beast. the bear. Hey, just that quick. He already going way off. So let's come back. Verse 7, and after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. What beast is this? Rome. All right, that beast represents Rome. It was known for literally using iron, and it was known in its military conquest being unstoppable. And what made it diverse? Its dealings. All right, Senate. It didn't rule by way of one direct king. And this is something, he didn't touch on none of that. Once again, we go to the book of Maccabees, go to the 8th chapter. First Maccabees 8:1. It says, now Judas had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that join themselves unto them, and make a league of amity all that came unto them. All right, you jump down. It says, let's start at 12. It says, but with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and that they had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, and so much as all that heard of their name were afraid of them. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, in whom again they displaced finally, that they were greatly exalted. Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple, to be magnified thereby. Moreover, they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting away for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered. All right, so right there, they didn't have a direct king. This is what made them diverse from all the other beasts. They ruled by way of them fat old white niggas with togas on, if you will. All right. It says in that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that they were obedient to that one, and there was neither envy nor emulation among them. And that's where America gets its system from today. Nowadays they would have their emperor, but he'd be cycled out. So the men who were really running the show were them old niggas, passing off and stamping and sealing papers. All right. He didn't explain now none of this. He just threw in, he saw the word 10 horns and he just went and found 10 people, straight bullshit. All right. And in one of those, you go back to Daniel, we know that this ain't no, those 10 horns ain't nobody's sons, because you go to the end of that verse 7, right? It says, and it had 10 horns. Oh, okay, verse 8, yep. So Daniel 7 and 8. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, for whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. All right, that little horn is who? America. All right, America is Rome revived. All right. That little horn, it says before whom 3 were plucked up. Who were the 3 that had to be plucked up for America to be established? All right, the Spanish, the French, and Britain. All right, let me do this real quick on Google. All right, and this is just something, even on Wiki, they know that those 4 kingdoms isn't talking about no goddamn Darius and his sons or whatever. All right, you type in the Beast of Daniel, right here, they say the 4 kingdoms. They know it's not talking about one king. All right, scroll down. You go to somewhere under here on interpretations. Bingo, yep, right here. So even on Wiki, they understand that the first one is Babylon, the second one is Medo-Persian Empire, the third is the Greeks, and the fourth is the Roman Empire. Plain as day. All right, now what I'm going to type in for what we were just talking about. Right here, the Spanish War. This was one of the horns that had to fall. It says between April 1898 to December 10th, 1898. Real quick. that's basically a scrimmage. All right, this was one of the horns that fell for America to rise. Spain. Let's get the other 2. The Louisiana Purchase of 1803. All right, and we're gonna look at a map to show you how. Because before these 3 things occurred, them 13 colonies didn't have much land at all in America. And these 3 other kingdoms, if you will, had to get knocked out the way. And the Louisiana Purchase took away the land from who? The French. And who did they get all the rest of it from? Or who initially did they have to break free from, actually? Let's get the third one. The American Revolutionary War. It says from 1775 to 1783. You know, between, just clicking on it, between America Yep. They did. Belligerents. Great Britain is one of them. So, you know, you already know, they declared their independence from Great Britain, this war. That's what this war is about. So these are the three. All right, and clicking back, I want to see if I can get a map real quick. Right here, boom, you type in map of America before 1776. All right, it was not the land that we now know and see. Okay, here we go. The 13 United States of America instead of 50, So throughout them couple hundred years, them devils, that little horn rose up and it knocked down the other three. All right, and it says what here? It says eyes were like the eyes of men, and a mouth speaking great things. All the wickedness and the evil that comes out of this place, the blasphemies, the wicked philosophies surrounded by Babylon. All right, now he didn't explain none of this. This nigga just said some bullshit, and he just gonna go to the next slide.
Of Greece, depicted in verses 8 to C in Revelation.
So now we go on to the next beast, right? So he just butchered the Daniel 7 beast. So now we're gonna see the beast of Revelation 13.
13. And the dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming up out of the sea.
So all he's doing is reading it right there. Nothing special. Let me see. Let me get it. Revelation 13 and 1. It says, and I stood upon the sea, the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads a name of blasphemy. Now, we know that this beast is an amalgamation of the great Edomite empires. Those 7 heads being what? Greece, Rome, off the top of my head, Germania Major, Germania Minor. Let me see. I'll just get the yep, there we go. Greece, Rome, Germania Major, Minor, Spanish, French, Britain, which we had mentioned. Those three were also the 3 little horns in Daniel 7. All right. So right here, just putting a physical representation in front of you. So those 7 heads, once again, Greece, Rome, Germania Major, Minor, Spanish, French, and Britain. All right, these are the 7 heads of that beast. So coming back, it says what? 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Verse 2. All right, and those 10 horns in today's time, that was the European Economic Community, which consisted of those 10 founder European countries, and in ancient Rome, 10 vassal states, which the elder Yasharamba did a real good breakdown on it all. All right, and it says upon his heads the names of blasphemy. Once again, all the wickedness that Esau Edom has been pushing throughout all the earth by various means. All right, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. All right, and so right here it's easy because once again you have the leopard, the bear, and the lion. Now you have to be careful here in verse 2, because this bear is something different. All right, see in verse 2, this leopard is still Greece, but this bear is Russia.
And the beast.
All right, Russia is at the bottom of the feet. All right, because it's going to be integral in taking down Babylon ultimately. It says his mouth was as the mouth of the lion, which is Britain, and the dragon gave him his power. Who is that dragon? Rome. Rome is what brought Esau Edom to preeminence on the planet Earth. Greece came before it, but Rome was the kingdom that set him in his power. All right, which is why you have, it says,
and the beast which
and his seat and great authority. Come back. Let's see. Blue letter. You go look at that word, I believe, seat. Revelation 13. Hey, I'm not bringing out nothing fancy or nothing. I'm just keeping it, just showing you Our elders and apostles got it and they gave it to us because these other motherfuckers can't break this down and say they fucking life. Seat. Yep. Seat G2362. Thronos. A throne seat, a chair, a state of having a footstool. All right. Hence, kingly power, royalty. Metaphor says to God, says the governor of the world. All right. This only makes sense. Revelation 13:1. This whole chapter only makes sense if it properly links up with that Daniel 7. So that fourth beast has to be related to this beast here. So his breakdown of it being, we're not down here speaking Persian. We don't all walk around. We're not walking around here with curved swords and eating, curry, every day. Bollywood. What do we watch? We deal with Hollywood. We don't deal with Bollywood. All right. Why? Because the Edomites are ruling. So that's how we know. His explanation for the four beasts in Daniel is completely off. All right. So let's come back. Oh, you know what? Did I finish reading? Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Then I saw a beast coming up like a leopard. I saw one of his heads.
We're just gonna fast forward to what he says it is, which he's completely wrong. So right here, you see he highlighted the leopard, the 10 horns, the lion, and the bear. So he goes back to dummy mode.
Explains, and they are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain a little while. Many have tried to apply this to the Roman emperors, but this connection seems to fall into far.
And, I'll give him that. Those heads aren't Roman emperors. That would be incorrect.
Too much speculation, and ultimately means holding to a predator in over the land of Israel and the Jewish people.
Right there. He said over the land and the J people. So he believes those people belong there, which is why he's about to give this faulty breakdown.
The entire Bible is an Israel-centric book. This only makes sense. Do we see these 7 empires in history? Yes, we do. Egypt, Neo-Assyria, Neo-Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, and the Islamic Caliphate.
Now, I don't know where the fuck out of them 7 heads, he only got 2 right. 2 out of 7 is a failure. That's an E+. You cannot pass a grade like that. He threw in the Islamic Caliphate. That don't got nothing to do with nothing. Like I said, y'all, come back here. All right, and these aren't the heads just because, us here, Great Mill Millstone. No, when you look at history, only this makes sense. The planet Earth is not in a broken estate because of the Islamic Caliphate. The planet Earth is in a broken estate because Esau, Edom has been ruling over it. All right. Matter of fact, that's why the scriptures say this. So real quick, basic scripture, 2 Timothy 2 and 15. Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. All right, another one. Hey, that's why y'all, if you're trying to look up something, or you're trying to break down something or reading something you don't get, look up the breakdowns. Drop a comment on a brother's board or something. Ask the brothers, for brothers that are in camps, ask the brothers over you. Don't just be winging shit on camera. All right. Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. Plain and simple, which this dude is butchering the shit out of everything. All right. I don't know how the Islamic Caliphate got put in there.
Medo-Persia.
They're saying that they're attacking the land right now, so they're that 7th head, straight BS.
Greece. At the time of the writing of Revelation, 5 major empires had already come and gone, while Rome was currently in power.
And 5 were come and gone, but who were they? It wasn't the ones you mentioned. All right. Rome was still currently standing, and the one that had to come, the 7th, was Britain. And who was the 8th? America. All right. Who did the eighth come out of? Great Britain. It only makes sense. All right. The Islamic Caliphate didn't come out of Rome. That don't make no... Man, come on, man.
And the next major empire to Israel and the Jews, the Medo-Persians and the Islamic Caliphate, are the only two that...
And see, now he's about to start comparing the religions of Islam and something known as Zoroastrianism, which is basically like an old Assyrian religion. And apparently they're very similar, but that don't got into... We're not dealing with Ishmael. We're not worried about Ishmael for the end of the world. He's just going to do his part and help him take down Edom. We're not worried about this guy.
Power during the time of Revelation and does not fit this description. The next empire to rule over the land of Israel and the Jewish people was the Islamic Caliphate, which we can now see is an evolved continuation.
And no, see, that's where he has it wrong. Why? Because he doesn't understand that the people have been put out of the land since 70 AD. All right. And what they don't want to deal with, the rest of the scriptures. They don't want to deal with the fact that, Israel was banished out of the land. All right. What does it say, Matthew 24? Let me think for a second. Let's go to 24th chapter. The Lord told them, flee. Where's that at? Where's that at? Yep. Matthew 24 and start of 15. It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So this lets you know, the heavenly Yahweh Shai, Salakia, was prophesying of the coming of 70 AD and literally gave commandment, when it comes, get the hell up out of there. So we haven't been ruling in our land since then. This is something that he completely didn't, put into the calculations, which is why he believes those people over there, have always been over there. And that's not the biblical case. All right. Luke 21 and, 20. It says, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the description thereof is nigh. Whose armies? The armies of Rome. It says, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries thereof enter thereto. All right, jump down to 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So right there, we were kicked and banished out of the land and was taken over by the heathen. So this is a phony baloney breakdown. All right, the true people aren't over there in mass. Therefore, this, his whole breakdown falls over.
Of the Medo-Persian empire's reign, the caliphate to return via the iron Babylon, but intriguing connection about the diet.
And that's one to destroy it. So who's Mystery Babylon? He's not going to admit that.
On the blue band marked with another video in the...
Now he found something in the blue letter mentioning the Persians. So that's, hey.
Future if this video has opened, but do your eyes. Blue band, all but intriguing connection about the diadems on the horns of the beast is when we look at the Greek word for crowns or diadem.
So yeah, he went and looked at that word crown and got this. All right, and this is it says the word Persian king there, but it doesn't mean it was talking about them. It's using it as an example. All right, so once again, it's just, man, leave the Bible to the people who've been breaking it down properly. All right, it was doing just fine. All right, you go over to Revelation 17, which he mentioned. I'm just highlighting the verse right here. Revelation 17, 10 through 11. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is not, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. At the time of this, Rome was still around. And who had to come next? Britain. And Britain fell. And who came after Britain? Or, Slakia, what great kingdom came out of Britain? Verse 11. And the 8th beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So America came out of Britain and goeth into perdition, literally, death and destruction. All right, so this dude, hey, like I said, I'm perceiving that he's slanted he's biased because he believes those people are the chosen people, which effed the whole breakdown up, just that quick. So hey, stick with the apostles' doctrine. Matter of fact, we'll end it on that one. Because everything else out here, motherfuckers can't break nothing down to say they life. All right. Acts 2 and 42. It says, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship and in breaking of bread and prayers. All right, so that's about it. And give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Akakwadash, the honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all elect Akim wa Akwath, learning, teaching, truth, and sincerity. Shalom.